Hi, Mike. Today is really a day to reflect on your amazing career and also on our friendship that dates back to the beginning of medical school nearly 45 years ago. I remember first meeting you as a freshman in medical school and hearing about your background. Your amazing growing up in Tucson, Arizona, where you helped out at the family grocery store. How you decided to apply to just one college that seemed to be a good one to you, MIT, where you went and distinguished yourself with many honors, including graduating Phi Beta Kappa. Your brilliance was also always equally balanced by your modesty. I remember walking through the lobby of the UCSF Moffitt Hospital, where they had donors of companies, affluent individuals that donated sizably to UCSF, only to be drawn to a photograph of you, Mike Lee, the only medical student, where a donation was received on your behalf, a major donation. To the best of my knowledge, that's never occurred before or after. And it was from a grateful patient whom you cared for as a medical student. This individual, despite being cared for by world-renowned attending physicians and house staff, selected you as the individual that really made the biggest difference in their recovery. When I asked you about that honor, I remember you very modestly confirming that, in fact, that was the case, but you never bragged about anything. I always felt that you would head into academic medicine, and as we did our post-medical school training, we kept in touch at a distance with one another. It was amazing how you did 3 separate fellowships at the NIH, the University of Arizona, where early studies on ablation energy research were being conducted, and then finally a cardiac electrophysiology clinical fellowship with Dr. Mel Scheinman. And that was an amazing circling back, because you and I both remember as seniors in medical school, as Dr. Scheinman in 1980 was preparing to do the first human cardiac ablation with animal research of using DC energy in animals. And then in 1981, did the first worldwide complete AV junction cardiac ablation. And the rest is history in that field. In 1989, 3 years after I had been with CCMG realized the importance of cardiac ablation as a therapeutic means of helping our arrhythmia patients. I suggested that we reach out to you, although I knew that you were well suited for academic medicine. You were already an attending physician at UCSF. I remember distinctly calling you that day and asking about how things were going, and then at the end of the conversation, asking whether you might be interested in joining our group in private practice. I was thrilled to hear you say yes, because at that time, you had not only distinguished yourself at UCSF, but you were sent by Mel Scheinman to many different other academic centers that were just beginning their cardiac ablation programs to help them get started and show them the technique that was being utilized at UCSF. I was thrilled, though, that you would join us, and I remember you saying that we should line up some cardiac ablations that you could help me with and we could do together even before you officially joined our group. So at that time, it was Wolff Parkinson White. We lined up several Wolff Parkinson White patients. The first patient we did, I distinctly remember, was one of these very difficult pathways that you were successful in ablating, but the accessory pathway was inside the coronary sinus, and the ablation had to be done from right side, left-sided approaches, as well as directly in the coronary sinus. After that, you suggested that we take on some easier left lateral accessory pathways, which we did. We began to work together in 1990 when you joined our group, there was no task that was too little or too great for you to take on. Recall that we established the East Bay Cardiac Arrhythmia and Electrophysiology Center, and that allowed us to go to East Bay hospitals beyond Merritt Hospital on Pill Hill, where we met a number of cardiologists, and we began to do electrophysiology testing and ablation at Mount Diablo and Concord. And we were able to enroll two of our partners, Robert Feldman and Eric Johnson, who had done a month or two or three with Roger Winkle in his famous electrophysiology lab and help with ventricular stimulation studies. It's important to note that the East Bay Electrophysiology Center was the nidus that really built CCMG into a two-county, multi-hospital, multi-office group, because we met all the cardiologists throughout the East Bay, and many of them in 1998 would become part of our larger CCMG two-county group. You know, I still also remember how important family has been to you. And while you could take a very successful academic career path, the private practice CCMG path allowed you more time with Meiji and your two wonderful sons. And I remember distinctly our pool parties, where together you and Meiji and your two sons would come over, and you brought all the necessary equipment for a successful day, including inflatable rafts, squirt guns, and really it solidified how important family life was in our group. In addition, Mike, it's truly impressive how multilingual you are. The fact that you speak Mandarin, Cantonese, Toisan is so impressive and something I tremendously respect. Even though Meiji has said your accent is that of a little schoolboy, to me, it's always perfect. And to the patients, you always reassure them. Your caring for a community has been exemplified in so many ways, including your yearly fundraising for the Asian Health Gala, establishment of a regular cardiovascular practice in Asian health, and of course your involvement with the American Heart Association, where you received their highest Heart of Gold award. Your team-based approach carries with you every day. For example, at Asian Health in Oakland, you arranged a meeting decades ago with the director of Asian Health, subsequently establishing a clinic in Asian Health for cardiology, but in addition, you involved all of the CCMG cardiologists to speak at Asian Health on the different subspecialties of cardiology. Again, your very team-focused approach. Mike, I don't know of anyone in our group in support of the team who has come in on so many of their days off, whether it be for urgent consults or urgent device placements at multiple hospitals, including Valley Care. Let's face it, Mike, you took call every night for cardiac electrophysiology at Valley Care, starting decades ago, before Stanford even knew of that hospital. I'm going to really miss sharing our office together in Oakland, as we initially handwrote our clinical notes and then typed them into the electronic health record, discussing many times patients, which is so important. The other part of community is that many times you shepherded and had college students and other students shadow you so they understood what it meant to be a cardiologist and a cardiac electrophysiologist. In fact, we will hear from one of those college students, former college students, Dr. Santosh Uman, later in the presentation today. I'm so thankful that my own daughter, Mara, was able to shadow you on occasion, and she still to this day, as an Apple attorney, remembers that day and also remembers the pop quiz you gave her on the left anterior descending coronary artery. How could she ever forget the LAD? On a daily basis, whether it was visiting college students that you were interacting with, or medical assistants, nurses, our PAs or nurse practitioners, our physicians, cardiac cath lab staff, device reps, and of course our patients, you always would take extra time to teach and in a caring way show interest in their concerns and their questions. In fact, even walking through the hospital to this day, you know the first names of the clinical staff, but also the transport staff and the custodial staff who you refer to, because everyone, as far as you're concerned, is on the cardiovascular team to provide optimal patient care. Your approach is really selfless. I got to confess, Mike, one confession before you retire, that I probably owe you well over 10,000 granola bars. You were always so kind to keep your desk drawer open and filled with snacks that I probably ate more than half of. I'm so thrilled, Mike, that you have Meiji and 2 wonderful sons and now an extended family of wives and grandkids. So, Mike, you're going to be sorely missed here at CCMG and UMP. I want to thank you for your thoughtful leadership, your strong sense of ethical behavior, your willingness to go above and beyond to help our patients and your partners, your compassion for your patients, the fact that you brought cardiac electrophysiology and ablation to our community and many university centers, that you speak 3 dialects of Chinese which help our Asian health community. So, medical school, advanced training, fellowships, a prosperous career, community work, and raising a family. You've done it all and made it quite a life for yourself. Now comes the time to look back with pride and satisfaction, look forward with hope and anticipation of what's to come. Congratulations on your retirement to you and Meiji and your family, and best wishes for the future. We wish you well. Stay in touch.